Hey again, gang. So there's an issue that I think I would like to address to give you up-and-coming musicians, singer-songwriters, engineers, producers, something to think about. And that is, keep moving up the ladder. Keep moving up the ladder because the business has changed so much that I don't think you can stay in one place too long. I may be wrong about this, but it seems to me opportunities have shrunken and the business has shrunken. We've talked about this before. But I think if you mean to make some success for yourself within a reasonable amount of time, and I don't know what reasonable is to some people. To me, it's before 40, right? Like if you don't have anything going and you don't have a good list of credits and you've got a specific number that you get all the time for your services by the time you're 40, it's probably not going to happen. But that doesn't mean you can't make great music and have a ton of fun and enjoy yourself. I'm just talking career-wise, the way the business is now. So keep moving up the ladder. The sad part about this is that if you keep moving up the ladder, you're learning less at each step, at each rung. So for instance, most of my assistants early on in my career when I started producing, and I don't even like to call them assistants, I like to call them cohorts or sidekicks or whatever they would prefer, because it's kind of derogatory because they were collaborators really with me constantly in the studio. Every one of them stayed with me for a number of years, usually like 5 to 6 years, and then went on to bigger and better things. The last two they decided to go back to school and get a degree and get real jobs. And I highly encourage them to do this. And they're pretty damn happy because they're both making a fine living, far more than they would have made in the music business. But I digress. Now, it's so difficult. So in those days, you could stay with someone for 5 or 6 years and then move on, and it just might be to gain more experience. Now you have to step up the rungs of the ladder quicker to not only get more experience, which you're not getting the full experience of that experience, but you need to do it to kind of jack up your price, right? And to move on to bigger and bigger and bigger artists and bigger projects and better paydays. So unfortunately, that's the way of the world now. So instead of staying around for 5 or 6 years in a position, working yourself up from an assistant to an engineer to a producer or chief engineer and then producer or whatever, you don't have that anymore. You got to go hustle and boom, 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 boom. You're going from assistant to engineer in 2 years and engineer to producer 2 years later, and you got to throw yourself in. Now, is that making better records? Probably not, but that's what you need to do, in my opinion, to survive in today's music industry. It's kind of sad because the old timers that I learned from and spent many, many years with are not going to be around, and the younger engineers and producers of the future are not going to have that experience either.